Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Interesting choices public officials make when confronted about issues related to religious freedom, particularly these days when Christianity is seen as a legitimate target. You know, conservative Catholics are monitored by the FBI, or at least there's a desire to do so, as we know. This was the opening invocation before a Washoe County, Nevada commission meeting. So Washoe County, Nevada is Reno. You know how before governmental meetings, you'll have an invocation, and oftentimes they'll do a rotation. You'll have a priest, a rabbi, imam, so forth. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, this go around, it was the Satanists' turn.
Oh, no.
Take a listen.
Thank you for letting us here. My name is Jason. I am an organizer and founder of Reno Satanic, and I am here to give the invocation today. Let us begin. In nomine de nostris Satanis Luciferi Excelsi, in the name of the eternal rebel against tyrannical authority, may we seize this glorious day and its enchanting nights to celebrate the wonders of the natural world, as we are all part of its boundless mysteries. In the spirit of the unconquerable sun, the bringer of light and knowledge, we say, Shemham Farash, Hail Satan!
Okay. Madam Clerk, we will now move to public comment.
Well, public comments. Gosh, I could only imagine what some of the public comments were. You watch this invocation, you see some senior citizens in the audience, a smattering, that would attend a county commission meeting, horrified and bewildered as to what's going on and what this guy is saying, not surprisingly.
And who's the D-bag who yells, Satan? Like, oh, my God. He had one supporter there.
I believe Governor Pritzker was auditing that commission meeting, thinking about maybe we should bring this guy from the Satanic Temple over to the Illinois General Assembly. They'd be welcome here. So, sure. Yeah. I think he performed at the World Economic Forum in Davos last week as well. A lot of demand for representatives of the Satanic Temple, which, by the way, is recognized by the IRS, 501c3 status as a religion. And that brings us to our next guest. What do we do about individuals like this in the public square in terms of access? Michael Cassidy, you may remember the name before Christmas. There was a Satanic Temple display in the Capitol building in Iowa, in Des Moines. And he couldn't abide that, so he took it down and was arrested for doing so. Michael Cassidy is a former Republican candidate for the Mississippi House of Representatives. He's a former Navy pilot as well. And he was arrested after, again, taking down that satanic display inside the Capitol in the Capitol building in Des Moines, Iowa. Also, he, subsequent to the arrest and the publicity, he has a legal defense fund at Give, Send, Go that has raised some $85,000 so far to help him fight the charges that that have been leveled against him. Michael Cassidy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on.
So, why did you feel the need to not let the Satanic Temple display stand?
So I saw the display, a few days before I went up to Iowa, and I thought it was a joke. Kind of like I think a lot of Christians have a response to just like that prayer over in Nevada, that we look at it and it's a joke. Like it's not a real thing. Like this isn't actually happening in in our country, in the United States of America, but it is. And so I bought a plane ticket, went up to Iowa, wanted to, hopefully the thing was going to be gone by the time I got up there, but I got there and was still there. There weren't any cops around, or weren't any Satanists around, no protesters, and the thing's like 6-7 feet tall, and it was evil. And so I didn't want to let that thing stand. I thought about the conversation that I'd have the day that I met Jesus, and thought, I don't want that conversation to go, hey, I was too scared to be a Christian in that moment. So, I took it down. And
so what did you do? Did you use a bat or anything, or just your hands? What did you?
Yeah, so I saw some of the memes about, like taking a sword and hacking the thing off. I didn't bring a sword with me. No, I took the head off. It was this, cheap fabric and like plastic and glass goat head. I ripped it up. I pushed the statue over, and that was pretty much it. Really wasn't all that much to it.
And then you were subsequently arrested by Des Moines police, right?
Well, I went and I turned myself in.
You turned yourself in.
Security. Yeah. There's still nobody there. It was kind of, there wasn't anybody there other than one, I think, Catholic man who was praying in Latin. And so, I went to security checkpoints, turned myself in. They didn't really know what to do, so they called the state troopers over, and they kept me there at the Capitol for about 30 minutes. But no, then they let me go. I never got arrested. They just gave me a citation, like you'd get for a speeding ticket or something like that. So I don't have a mug shot or anything like that.
Right. Okay. Well, but don't you have to appear in court?
So as of yesterday, they still they've been. I'm not familiar with how long legal processes go. They still have not filed the citation. So we don't have even a tentative court date. If it gets to a court date, we're expecting more information this week about the matter. But as of right now, the states, they're taking their time.
And have you or has your attorney heard from the Satanic Temple representatives of?
There's been, people associated with them have certainly had their share of hate mail and threats and things of that nature. I'm not sure if what exactly they've filed with the state, or if they've had separate conversations with my attorneys. But they're not, they're not the nicest people. I'll put it that way. They're literal Satanists. Some of them.
Well, yeah, right. I got that, but yeah.
Did they want you to pay for any damages done?
Or file civil action against you.
We have not received a civil action in the matter. Now that may change. That's one of the things that I think is going to be, from what I understand from the lawyers, again, I'm not a lawyer, is that a civil suit would be after the criminal case gets resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why couldn't you control yourself? I know this sounds very pedestrian, but they have a right to free speech. I don't like it either, but they are American citizens. So I know you said that Jesus was calling you to go, or just walk us through that again.
I wouldn't say that I was perfectly in control.
Okay.
That there is no an example that I gave that perhaps I'll give now too. That if there were some fake religion, like the IRS is not the arbiter of what a true search for God, for religion is, and if there were a IRS-derived religion that worshipped Osama bin Laden, and they had put a statue to Osama bin Laden and the Twin Towers inside a state capitol, I think that we would hope that our civil magistrates, that the legislature, that the governor, that they would have the subjective sense to understand we shouldn't put statues of Osama bin Laden inside a state capitol. We shouldn't have public displays that, give glory to that. Same thing with satanic icons, that our leaders are supposed to have the subjective understanding to know that a statue of the devil is wrong. And like one of the pieces of mail that I got, or a Facebook message I got from an Iowa father that evening or the next day, he was mad at me because he wanted to take his children up to the state capitol and show them that statue of the devil. And so that thing just being there, it has its own evil influence on kids. And that's something that, we have to be able to, our leaders have to be able to stand up and say, no, we're not going to tolerate that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I agree from a substantive point of view, but from a legal point of view, nobody except them and their sympathizers, nobody liked the Ku Klux Klan marching through Skokie back in the day. But it's your public right to protest and seek redress, lodge grievances, seek redress from your government. On public property, you certainly, you're a Navy pilot, you're a smart guy, you understand that you have access to public property in an equal way such that there's no government favoritism to one particular faith versus another, as noxious as the faith of the Satanists might be. And so, the flip side is to number one, you have case law that I think goes against what you did, Supreme Court case law, and a proper understanding of the First Amendment, even though I'm sympathetic to your viewpoint on the matter. And number two, the flip side is when you see something that obnoxious, that hate-filled, that evil, like the Klan marching through Skokie, it's also an opportunity to teach young people about the foundations of a free society and about what's right and wrong, and that we can't rely on the government to tell us what's right and wrong. We have to be able to discern it for ourselves, be able to articulate it, and do so freely in a pluralistic society where people are going to disagree. I mean, there's that, aspect of it too that's fundamental.
On every military base, at least every Navy base, they built a chapel. Every day when we're on the ship, we have a daily prayer, nightly prayer, excuse me. The idea that a government can have absolutely zero, just closes its eyes and gives sanction to whatever calls itself religion, that idea is brand new in the thousands of years of Western jurisprudence, and that that there is a massive difference between having a national religion where everybody adheres to a particular denomination of religion. There's a massive difference between that, which is what our founders wanted, and the idea that our leaders would be guided by Christian values, which is precisely what was the intent of the founders of our country. And so they would never, I don't think anybody could make an argument that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and John Adams and James Madison and Benjamin Franklin would have said, you know what, it's a blessing of liberty to put satanic altars inside government buildings. Do you think that they would think that that's what the First Amendment was about?
Yeah, actually, unfortunately, I think that they would, and I think that the interpretations, the case law on this is pretty clear, and yeah, there are time, place, manner restrictions, but yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you, as you know, in terms of the philosophy and the perspective and the evil of this display and the wrong-headedness, pun intended, of these Satanists. But, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. These are obnoxious people is why we have the restraints on government we have, because if you start being the arbiter of what is obnoxious and what is not, then you're ceding that sovereignty to the government, and that's even more dangerous than a satanic display inside the Capitol in Des Moines, in my view. But I appreciate your coming on the show. I appreciate your perspective and your service to the country. On top of that, Michael Cassidy, former Republican candidate for the Mississippi House of Representatives, Navy pilot, who was the individual at the center of that satanic display controversy in Des Moines that you heard about before Christmas. Thanks for your time, Michael Cassidy. And again, he's got a Give, Send, Go page up if you want to support his legal defense to the extent he needs to mount one. We'll see, I guess. Michael Cassidy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Y'all have a good morning up there.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
We live in a high-tech world, yet nature is so complex that it's impossible for humans to even come close to duplicating it with all the technology in the world. Witness the spectacular things we see in nature and how they should inform one's faith in the latest book by Jeff Tischler,